If you really want to chase that next size of customer, that 100 to 300 employee, you need to make a decision of what you're going to do with your existing 20 to 100 employee organization. It's a deeply alluring concept. It's the precious ring in Lord of the Rings. We should chase this thing, but you will chase it to your detriment. The thing that I struggle with the most with MSPs is the allure of getting into a large client that's outside of your target customer profile. You probably lost money on all those deployments, and you probably still are, but now you know the product.
Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome back to Harvest the MSP Sales Show. This is a bit of a special episode, this one. I'm here at IT Nation Connect Europe in London, and as soon as I heard, well, I was actually doing a talk here, but as soon as I heard that Peter was going to be on the agenda, I had to collar him. And of course, for Harvest, this podcast, all we're talking about is how to generate more business from your existing customer base. And Peter is definitely a font of knowledge when it comes to that particular topic, having worked with numerous groups. Peter, it is wonderful to have you on the show. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Excellent, excellent.
My voice is largely intact, even though it's day 3 of IT Nation, so I'm thrilled to be on with you.
That's disappointing. I don't think you've been trying hard enough, clearly.
Day's not over.
No, that's it. We've still got a few more hours left. So we have something of a tradition on this show. So we always ask new guests, what do people get wrong about you when you first perhaps walk into a room that is just a misconception?
I would give you 2. Because I ran an MSP for 11 years, and now I've been at ConnectWise running service leadership for 4 years and IT Nation for a year. I often hear people thinking that I'm really technical. Most MSP owners were former techs and engineers, and I'm the last person you'd want to have touch your computer.
So this is why you're a specialist in growth, though, right? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I ran the MSP, but I came in from running a fintech company as a CEO.
Right.
I have a background in sales leadership and law and turnarounds, and so it fit the needs of the MSP that I took over, which was an extreme turnaround.
Right.
That, and then the other one is I have a lot of people who think I have a finance background or I'm a CPA because of service leadership's benchmarking and the data and what we present, and I do not. As I said, I have a law background, a law degree, and a communications degree from undergrad. But I learned the numbers over the years, and over the years, had to become extremely knowledgeable on financial statements and on data. And obviously, running businesses, you learn it the hard way sometimes.
Yes.
But no, I'm just a data geek. I love what we do, and I lived on it for 9 years. We were in a peer group and benchmarked, and I used it to help turn our business around. But I am not a CPA or finance, otherwise accountant or other finance background.
The people have got you pigeonholed all over the place there.
Yes.
And there was a second misconception, did you say?
Yeah, that I have a finance background and that I'm good with computers.
Right. Okay.
So those 2 I would give you.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Perhaps we should, at this point, you reference some of the so why people think that about you. That's to do with SLI. Perhaps we should just, for those people who aren't familiar with SLI, just do a very quick, I think most people probably have heard or are aware of the evolved peer groups and so on, but maybe you could just give a very quick idea of what it is you do in the SLI community.
The short answer is we benchmark the IT industry in 10 different business models worldwide every quarter. We've been doing it for 20 years. This is our 21st year of benchmarking. We do it every quarter. We come out with a couple of annual reports. Our remuneration report came out this week. Our annual profitability report comes out in late May. But because we've been doing this for 20 years now, we have data and perspectives on what drives success in the industry that is nobody else can touch.
There's nothing like it. And so these are the evolved peer groups. I know these guys, they all do their own benchmarking. Presumably that just feeds into SLI as well, does it? And then
they use our platform.
Okay.
So every evolved member uses service leadership.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Go on. It's okay. I can manage that on.
I might not be a tech, but I know when a camera's going down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every Evolve member worldwide uses service leadership to benchmark. So they all enter their financial and operational data in every quarter, including their sales and marketing data. And so they all have a view of what they're doing, and then within each group, they use that to for their coaching and their accountability. They all have visibility within their groups to each other's performance, and so they're able to really understand is this partner over here doing really well at this one thing, and maybe it's something I'm struggling with. Maybe I'm trying to improve my gross margin and manage services, and this company is great at it. So they can help each other better by doing that.
So it's really at the core, isn't it? Can I ask you then, so obviously you've got access to all this data. Help me try and translate this for people watching that perhaps the audience of Harvest know that perhaps chasing net new logos constantly. I mean, there's a place for new sales, of course, but there's so much gold to be had within your existing customer base. Is there anything that stands out for you when you think about some of the members in the group? Are there any way you think, okay, that's an area that I would focus perhaps? That's where I see some real sort of step gains.
How many hours do we have?
Well, yeah, we're going to have to condense this down a little bit. You have to give me the summary.
Yeah, the number one difference between the most successful MSPs and the least successful MSPs that I see in their managed services practice is pricing. So the first place I would always start with my existing customer base is really understanding on a per customer basis, how profitable is each customer?
Okay.
What's my gross margin, not just at an aggregated level, but on each customer. And the higher operational maturity level MSPs understand that they need to do that every quarter at least. They need to stack rank their MSPs and understand which MSPs are making us money. And sometimes they can be making me too much money. If I'm charging them at a really premium level and they're barely calling in, we're hardly getting any tickets, we're rarely interacting with them. Some MSPs would say, well, that's a dream client. And yes, it's a dream client, but it's a dream client that you're not going to have for long.
Yes, okay. Churn risk is there, isn't it?
They're clearly not receiving the benefit from your services that they need to be.
Yeah.
But I would always start on the bottom tier, your D customers, and figure out within those customers, why are they my D customers? Is it a pricing issue? Do we have a chronic issue at that customer that we need to proactively fix? But most of the time, it's a mix of the two, and you do need to do some price increases. So making sure that you've priced your services at a level that's going to bring you the kind of gross margin you need to pay for the rest of the business and generate a healthy enough profit and all of those things is really important. And then getting into a per customer basis. I'll tell you a story. One of the peer group members that we work with a couple of years ago told me they went back and really dialed in and focused on their profitability. After a quarterly meeting, they were frustrated. They were seeing everybody else's performance. And one of the things that they did was they went back in December after the November meetings and did this kind of analysis. What they found was that they had several customers who they were not only not making money on, they were actually losing money on those customers.
Yeah, it happens, doesn't it?
All the work, you're hiring people to support those customers.
Blood, sweat, and tears going into costing you money.
And meanwhile, they're losing money. And what was really interesting is they said those customers were their longest tenured customers.
Wow. Okay.
So, and I find that a lot, that
almost an obligation or responsibility.
Right.
I've known them for so long, I can't touch them. They're used to a certain level of service and pricing.
I think it's two things. I think there's definitely the loyalty factor. You develop a close relationship with your customers. You get to know them really well. That MSPs generally are they're programmed to be very helpful people. They're there to solve problems. And when I go into a customer with a significant price increase,
that's
I'm
an
not
uncomfortable
solving.
Yeah,
it's a very difficult conversation for a lot of MSPs to have. So they avoid it. And so that's one issue. The other issue is oftentimes those customers came on early before the MSP really knew what to price their services at. So they came in at an artificially low level. And as the MSP grew, they figured that out. They added new customers at a higher price point. but they never went back and fixed those other ones.
How often do you recommend it? So I think you mentioned, did you say quarterly? You should keep an eye on this stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And does it come from, is this a case of understanding your obviously your cost of sale in terms of your solutions, but it comes down to understanding the time your team are putting together, time they're spending on delivering that solution as well.
Yes.
So is it really getting down to the details that is the thing that makes the difference? Or
Oh yeah, this gets down into then making sure that all of your time's being tracked, making sure that you're putting in sufficient cost to capture the true cost of your labor. All of these things can be done within ConnectWise PSA, and the reporting can come right out of there. There's some really good reporting products that some other providers have that bolt on to PSA that can get into an even more granular basis. So the tool will provide the information out if you set it up correctly.
yeah, okay. I'm interested to know this. So in terms of, you must have come across so many MSPs that have gone through some sort of transformation. Do you have any that you can think of? You don't have to name them, but just in terms of the ones that have been a real sort of transformation story that maybe have done that through concentrating on existing customers and getting that sorted. So maybe doing price increases, or maybe something else. Maybe it's introducing a new service, or can you think of any elements there that people could learn from, perhaps, to things to look for when they're looking at how to generate, how to be more successful?
Yeah, I can give you several. One that isn't directly adding revenue onto my existing clients, but it's really important for every MSP to understand, is about 70% of your new client acquisition sales will come from referrals. So making sure that you're not only taking great care of your clients, but you're doing QBRs that deliver value to the clients.
Well, there's a topic.
Yeah, we could spend a lot of time on QBRs, but doing them, as the name strongly implies, quarterly. But you're regularly out with your clients, you're adding value, you understand your business's strategic goal, your customer's strategic goals, and that you're not just there solving tickets, right? You're really helping your clients achieve their business goals through technology. If you're doing that and you're delivering those kind of benefits to your client base, then you should be asking your clients at the end of every QBR, I'm thrilled that you had great feedback. You love working with our team. That is sweet music for me to hear. I love hearing that. Thank you for that. That's such a compliment. Is there anybody else, any other businesses that you know of that might also benefit from our services?
That's so important, isn't it? And it's so under. It's one of those things. I think some people are aware they should be doing it, and they don't. I don't know why that is.
It's a little bit of an uncomfortable thing. You're making an ask.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a tough QBR that you just got through, maybe don't make that ask.
Save it.
But most of the time, you know who your clients are who are happy with you, and those that you need to work on the relationship with. But those that you have a good relationship with, that you're doing a good job delivering services, it's really important that you ask that question. And about 70% of your new sales will come in that way. Now, they very well might not have an answer at that moment. They might say, it's a great question, let me think about it. But at least you planted that question.
Would you follow up? Would you follow up with that? Would you say, I did that ask, and then maybe I'll pop back a couple of weeks later, and we had that conversation?
I don't think I would, because I think it would get to. But I would ask it again next QBR. I would ask it again the next QBR. And what you'll find is that even if they don't have that answer that day, if you're asking the question, they'll think about it. And they might not know anybody that day anyway that needs the services, but maybe a month later they're at a social gathering, or they're at some business meeting and they hear about this company that's struggling with IT. If you ask them that and they know you're looking for referrals, now they know to bring it to you.
It's always top of mind, isn't it? Can I talk to you about white space? So this concept of looking at what your customers have already and then perhaps going after it. Do you have any thoughts there around how much of the positive impact from being in a peer group comes from actually just making sure that some of those products and services that customers aren't taking, they are, and introducing those? What are your thoughts around how to best capitalize on that sort of potential white space?
Well, we teach in service leadership best practices, we teach a couple of things pertaining to that. if you look at an MSP who's really high OML, they do some things very differently than lower operational maturity level MSPs
Excellent.
do.
Talk to me about that. That's what I'm interested to know. Yeah.
One of those things is they focus in on, they have very few managed service packages. They have typically one, maybe two.
Okay.
And their goal is to get as close to 100% of their customers on their most fully inclusive offering.
Mm-hmm.
When we work with lower OML MSPs, they'll typically have the good, better, best. Maybe they've added a couple of more along the way.
Yeah.
But the numbers tell us that about close to 75% of the best in classes customers will be on their most fully inclusive package. Bottom quartile MSPs, it's closer to 50%. So, and the theory the bottom quartile folks have is, it's better to get a sale than not get a sale.
Especially in the early days, right? I mean, it's something you can imagine the larger companies have that luxury.
That's the theory. Yeah, that I'm better to get a sale and get a little bit of revenue from this company or turnover, and at least get them in. And if I introduce them to my team and the benevolent greatness that we bring to the table,
yes,
they will inevitably beg me for a more inclusive package at some point.
It's a land and expand play, isn't it, almost?
That's the theory, but the theory doesn't work. In our industry, our data tells us that works less than 20% of the time. Most of the time, those customers that buy in on that smaller package, they do it because they're price point buyers. They're attracted to the smaller charge that you're bringing.
Yeah.
And those are going to be your most difficult customers to support.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be your least profitable customers to support and your most frustrating. And so the higher OML MSPs have learned this. And so their approach to new sales is very different. When they do have customers, back to your white space question, when they do have customers who are on lower tier packages, they're not going to just wait for them to matriculate upwards. Mm-hmm. They're going to put together a strategy. They're going to work with that customer, and they're going to do everything proactively to try to get them up to that point. But what they learn over time is that's a lot of work, and it doesn't work a lot as much as you'd hope it would work. So we're just better off to go out right out of the gate and get them onto our most fully managed offering.
Okay, and so that argument of, well, you know, from a customer's point of view, that argument of, well, don't sell me all that stuff. I'm not necessarily going to use all of that.
Right.
You just see less pushback when it comes to the sort of those people that are less price conscious. That's what it comes down to. They're willing to take that a little bit more for the simplicity of the service and the other aspects of the value prop, basically.
Yeah, there's a huge difference in buyers. So on the top tier of buyers, which is about 25 to 30% of buyers, they're what we refer to as strategic IT buyers. These are buyers who understand that what you do as an MSP, what we all do as an industry, matters to their business achieving their business goals. Mm-hmm. And if the MSP doesn't do the job for them, they're going to be negatively affected, and they're not going to be able to achieve their business goals. Mm-hmm. They probably have had a bad experience with an MSP previously. They've maybe had a security incident previously. For whatever reason, they're awake to the importance of what MSPs do. Mm-hmm. As a result, they listen more to what the MSP recommends. They are more willing to upgrade as the MSP recommends upgrades. They're also going to pay more for a more inclusive offering and an MSP that they believe is going to deliver better quality and value. The other 70% or so of buyers are price point buyers. And these are folks that they know they need some IT support.
It's almost reluctant. It's like a necessary evil.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the term that we use. If it was up to them, they wouldn't do this. They hate it. They probably don't want to ever sit in a QBR.
Can they be changed? Can that mindset be changed through the education side? Or in your opinion, are you better off just looking for that 30%? Is that
100%? You're definitely better off. The processes that you have set up early on when you have a prospect should be set up to do two things. It should be set up so that strategic buyer looks at your MSP and says, this is somebody who I want to do business with. They're going to really help me achieve my goals.
How can we do that? I have to pause you on that one for a second. I'm interested to know. So that's a really important point. What can an MSP do to gear themselves up to attract a better buyer? Are we talking about like a digital footprint sort of thing, or
you can have a more robust offering that includes more, and that's, for example, managed security. Best-in-class companies sell significantly more managed security as part of their managed service offering.
Yeah.
And so they will say to and they're often a more expensive per seat option.
Yeah.
But they'll say to the prospect, look, if you're looking at price, there's other MSPs who you're going to want to go with.
Yeah.
We include a lot more. And it's not negotiable. We believe that this is going to give your business the best chance of staying safe, that we are here to keep you safe. We're here to achieve your business goals.
And it's articulating
and
that.
Here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So if that's important to you, we're the right company. If you're looking at, if this is a price point transaction, I can give you some other names. So they're going to be proud of that. They're going to talk about it. They're also going to do pre-sales assessments, and they should be charging for those assessments. So if I'm talking to a prospective buyer, and the buyer, let's say a buyer has 3 MSPs in front of them. They're talking to 3, they've got 3 names, all 3 come into the office. MSP number 1 says, how many employees do you have? And you say 42, and they pull out their laptop and they say 42 employees. Here's what it'll cost you per month.
That's your price, yes.
And
deep understanding.
And you sign here.
Yeah.
MSP number 2 says, well, let me take a look at a few things, but it'll be about this much per user. MSP number 3 says, I don't know what it's going to cost. Before I can tell you what it'll cost, we need to really understand your environment. We need to understand your business goals, your challenges you've had with IT. I'm going to send some of my engineers here. We're going to do a pre-sale. We're going to do an assessment of all this. At the end of that, we're going to come back with a report for you, and we'll tell you where we think you're doing well and where we think you need improvement. At that point, I can tell you what it'll cost us to service your environment. Mm-hmm. But until I really understand your environment, I can't do that.
Yeah.
If you're a strategic buyer who's looking for the highest quality partner, which of those 3 is the most appealing?
Yeah.
Right? So the process is inherently set up to attract a strategic buyer. It's also set up to be equally repellent to a price point buyer.
Yes.
Right? That price point buyer is going to say, that sounds expensive. Let me go. I just got 2 other quotes. Let me go with the lower of the 2. So those are the kind of things that they're additional work to do.
It's probably quite scary, isn't it? Because we touched on why people have the multiple packages. It's because they just want to get some business in the door. It's probably quite a scary thing to think about charging up front. But you're saying it's a necessary if you want to have that longevity and
you bet.
And the profitability.
And we see a transition for that for a lot of MSPs who they don't do assessments, they don't charge. If they do assessments, they do them for free. First of all, the other issue with doing that is the people who are your employees who are doing the assessment work are some of your most expensive employees. So you don't want to waste those employees on tire kicker customers.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah.
And if a customer pays you for an assessment, and when I say pays you, I'm saying at any level. If you're charging $500 or you're charging $5,000, if they've made a buying decision to pay you for that, as long as you are good to deal with in the process and you come in with some credible recommendations, you're going to have about a 90% close rate. So, because they've already made a decision that we're going to do business. Now, you still have to deliver on the assessment and you still have to come in with a reasonable proposal, but that process is going to help bring in customers who are going to be better customers for you.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. No, I really like this. I mean, we've talked a lot about, ways that you can introduce new products and services and things into client bases, but this idea of, having just setting out your stall, it takes a bit of confidence to do, setting out your stall and going in right.
It's hard to do that when you're in a startup mode. When you're in a startup mode, you just need to get some customers, right? So you're much less discerning, but what happens is you get customers, you probably have added some employees, you've grown to a little bit, and now you actually have a mess. And now you have to figure out how to manage it and support it. So now you have to start, if you're going to really take your MSP to the next level, you're going to have to start to adopt some best practices and start to fix some of those things that maybe you did wrong in the early days.
Yes.
And move past those things.
It's almost like you don't want to make too much of a mess on your way up, do you? Because you're going to have to go back and revisit this.
It's pretty hard as any entrepreneur will tell you, it's pretty hard not to make a mess in those early days and end up with some customers. You kind of have to, but how fast you can move forward is the key. You also asked about introducing new products.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say there's two scenarios that we see. One is on the managed service offerings themselves. If you're an MSP that has, let's say, 4 different managed service offerings, try to get it to 3, then try to get it to 2. And you can do that in a way that's minimally disruptive to your customers and to your business. Just at renewal time on those customers, go to them in advance and say, hey, this package that you're on, we have a better one now that is more inclusive, adds some additional things. And so this package is being retired. So let me walk you through what this would look like for you based on what I know about your business. This is going to be a better fit for you. Okay. And then just retire that one and do it over a period of 12 to 18 months. You don't want to go out tomorrow and say, I'm going to get rid of a third of my customers, right? Or, you want to do these things gradually so that it doesn't negatively impact your business. And so that's the opposite of adding a new service. That would be retiring an existing service.
Yes. Yeah.
Adding a new service, what we see top performing MSPs do is they only add 1 new product or service a year.
Okay.
And so you come to an event like IT Nation, we have wonderful solution partners, and you have a great solution partner pavilion.
Shiny thing syndrome sets in.
And your employees are scared for when you get back.
Yes.
Right? What is it that is going to be now the new thing today? And yeah, exactly. Shiny toy syndrome. You certainly want to learn about those things, but what we teach is, and what we see top performers do, is they know, that they need to have a certain number of deployments to really be good at it. Okay, so if I'm going to bring in a new tool, and I'm going to need to do some installs on that, before I'm even going to be able to break even on it. So no matter what the solution partner is telling me the ROI is on this thing.
It's almost a mini business plan, isn't it? It's almost like you have to know what's my go-to-market on this and what's the potential return and so on.
Absolutely.
There's a cost involved in getting up and running with this stuff.
Absolutely.
Are you tired of wasting time on basic proposal tools? Sales Builder goes beyond PDFs, automating your entire sales process to win more deals and boost profits. Do you want to have a look at how it works? First off, we provide you with the foundation of a nice, simple, centralized view of your company's contacts and all of the useful related data points, and that's automatically synchronized with your PSA. The most efficient MSPs are ruthless about only selling a standardized portfolio. Connect to your distributors for your hardware details and availability too, your PSA to pull in your managed services, and then clear out all of that noise and distraction of ad hoc products and services you've been selling over the years. Define a tight portfolio with service bundles, set your margins, specify standard up and cross-sell items, and make sure that everyone is doing the same thing right across the business. Once you're clear on exactly what you want to be selling, it's time to work out who you can sell it to. Our white space analysis module helps your sales teams get laser focused. Spot the upcoming contract renewals, anything you're underbilling, visualize the service gaps, and focus on the most profitable account growth opportunities. So you know what you're selling, you know you're selling to, it's time to send a proposal. Get beautiful, error-free, standardized and interactive quotes sent out without all that copying and pasting from supplier portals, adjusting templates, editing product information, all that stuff that just hemorrhages time and profits. With drag and drop content blocks and templates, you can make sure your document really resonates with your customers' needs or even their vertical, but in a way that's fast to produce because it's standardized. Plus, of course, customers can edit quantities and options there on the fly, they can e-sign, and you can see all of this going on right from within Sales Builder. Start your free trial today and see how much you could be missing. We have got a great team of real people with lots of experience here, so let's chat and see how Sales Builder can help you take your MSP to that next level.
And some of those costs are hidden. If I bring on a new tool, let's say I add a new security product, and I like it, it fills a gap for me. We've researched different products. We think this is the right one to go with. We now want to start testing it out. Okay. First of all, the decision to do that shouldn't be coming from sales because a customer said they want it. It should be coming from your service leadership, your service leaders, because they're the ones who have to support it.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
Sales depends on the size of the MSP, who gets involved, but whoever is leading the service organization, sales certainly has input to it, but whoever's going to have to support it should be the one making the ultimate decision. Mm-hmm. But you should only do it if you think you can get 15 customers on it in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, this is the bit that most people miss, isn't it? Or so many people.
You bet. This customer really wants this.
Yeah,
so
shortcut.
let's sign up for it. I'm at an event like this, and we're all excited. We're going to put it in that customer's environment. Well, what we found is it takes about 3 to 6 deployments for your team to really start to learn how to deploy it efficiently, how to support it.
That's the thing, it's efficiency, isn't it?
Yeah. And you don't have documentation on it. Mm-hmm. So you need to build documentation. You need to teach your junior people how to support it. So there's a whole process that those first few deployments are going to be lacking. So you get the first 3 to 6 done. Now you probably lost money on all those deployments, and you probably still are. But now you know the product.
Yeah,
right?
and you know to factor that in as well, right? I mean, you know to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to be losing money on the first few.
And that's part of the process.
Yeah.
So the next 3 to 6 we're going to do better at. By the time we get to about the 15th, this is a real product for us. We're good at it. At that point, I want to bring that product into all of my managed service customers within a year. So I'm going to need to adjust the pricing at renewal for them, but I'm going to proactively go to them and say, hey, we have this new product and we're adding it to all of our managed service customers. There will be a bit of an uplift at renewal, but for now, we believe so strongly in this, we're just going to deploy it for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. The great thing with that methodology is not only do you learn how to do it and do it in a profitable way, and you really understand the product to support it, but you can also go back to the solution partner that you partnered up with on that product and say, hey, we really like it. Here's how we're going to deploy it. Are there any additional resources we can have access to? Any additional engineering resources? And by the way, if I commit to doing this on my entire customer base in a year, what can we talk about for pricing?
That's a massive benefit, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Doing that in a really considered way, in a time frame, with a real kind of estimate of how many people are going to adopt this. And that's way more attractive for a vendor than, I'll take it on, do what I can.
Way more attractive. They love it. I'll be speaking at a vendor industry event, marketing event in 2 weeks. And this is this concept is so important for them to understand.
Yeah.
And those that do get this really do well. But your existing MSPs who don't follow that kind of process, let's talk about the opposite. They wake up one day and their managed service clients are running all sorts of different products.
Yeah.
So when those tickets come in, their techs don't know exactly what they're on. They have to figure all that out.
Oh, that inefficiency just ripples through the business at that point, doesn't it?
It consumes your gross margin.
Yeah.
So, and
there's a good lesson in there, people.
Yeah.
Make sure you take that one on board. So, that's got the potential to really affect bottom line, hasn't it? This kind of shiny thing syndrome. I think it's an important point. We've covered some really good stuff there, Peter. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. We've got a segment coming up. We call this one Industry Manure. Now, this is your chance to let me know what you hear in the industry. Now, you do numerous events. You're out there in the community all the time. What advice do you hear out there that when you hear it, you think, oh, that just really grinds my gears? You go and do that. That's going to do the opposite of what we're looking for here.
The thing that I struggle with the most with MSPs is the allure of getting into a large client that's outside of your target customer profile. So what a really common scenario that we see, and every MSP deals with this, is let's say my target customer profile is 25 to 100 employees. Okay, within that size, they roughly look the same. I can use similar processes. My tech stack can be the same. But when they get much larger than that, now they probably have hired an internal technology person. That business, they'll start to go to that person for level 1 support. My process to support that business will start to change. Well, a lot of MSPs at that point will try to hang on to that customer by creating a co-managed offering. And if they do hang on to that customer, they will say, wow, this new co-managed offering we've got is pretty lucrative. We get this much more per month. We don't have to do level 1. They're doing the level 1. Why don't we go out and start selling this to larger companies?
Yeah, that sounds good. What's the issue there?
The issue there is that you will break your service factory for your existing customer base. So it's a deeply alluring concept. It's the precious ring in Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
We should chase this thing, but you will chase it to your detriment.
Okay.
So what my advice is to those MSPs is, if you really want to chase that next size of customer, that 100 to 300 employee or whatever size it is, you need to make a decision of what you're going to do with your existing 20 to 100 employee organization. Are you going to have a separate service factory?
Yeah.
Are you going to have a separate account management factory? You're basically building a different factory to take care of those customers. And if you don't, those customers, the demands that those customers will put on your business are radically different than the demands that the smaller customers that you have are putting on your business. And they'll break the factory that you're using to support those smaller customers.
Have you seen this play out in the SLI groups or the involved groups?
I see this play out every quarter. So it's, if not the most common thing that we see with that, there's a whole bunch of manure that I have.
Maybe we'll do a separate episode on that.
That I have the privilege of hearing, but that's part of the reason that within the peer groups that the members have within the groups themselves have access to each other's financials. And it's because oftentimes there's an inverse relationship between the loudest member in the room and the most successful member in the room. And so you want to take your advice from those that are the most successful and really know what they're doing.
That's the beauty of your groups.
Yep.
It's laid out in black and white.
Yep. They have full visibility to it. There's nowhere to hide. No. So it's great for accountability, but it's also great for understanding who's really doing well. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with co-managed. If I'm working with an MSP whose target customer profile is 100 to 300, to use that example again, and they haven't, that MSP, if they're a high performer, would never bring on a 40 employee or customer or 50 employee, because they know that's just not what we're built for. We're a co-managed service factory. If we need to fully manage you, that's not what we do. I was talking to a partner earlier today and used the example that my favorite motorcycle I ever owned was a BMW. BMW makes incredible motorcycles.
Very particular type of bike, though, isn't it? Normally,
great bike. They also make incredible SUVs and incredible sedans.
Yeah,
they don't make them on the same assembly line.
Yeah.
Okay. They all have engines. They all have wheels. They all have speedometers. They all have seats. Ostensibly, they're the same type of product, right?
Yes.
But you would never see that in that manufacturing. The motorcycles have a completely separate factory. They have a completely separate sales distribution network, etc. So the concept is the same when it comes to managed services.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy. Don't let those similarities fool you. Peter, question for our next guest, if you don't mind. So we speak to experts, we speak to MSPs. Is there something you would like to ask our next guest that will get answered on the next episode they can come back to you with?
Sure, it's a bit of a trick question, but it would be interested in the answer. And that is, with AI, what is
we nearly made it without saying it.
We'll have a little fun with it. With AI, what is the recurring revenue managed service opportunity that will be successful for MSPs? And the reason it's a trick question is I don't think anybody really has that answer yet. I'm seeing some theories about it, but mostly what I'm seeing from the customer-facing perspective is project-based work on automation and AI. And I have yet to see somebody who has successfully monetized the managed service stack addition to their existing managed service offering and can demonstrate that they're doing it at a certain level of gross margin. Now, what I am seeing today, and my advice to every MSP, is start internally. Look inward first. Figure out how to build automation into your MSP's service delivery, how to embrace AI, such as what ConnectWise is bringing to the table with Zoffic.
Yes.
And really become great at it yourself. Then, in a year or 2 years, start to take it out to your customer base and start to layer it on. So again, a bit of a trick question, because to my knowledge, I haven't seen anybody who's really figured that out yet. But I would love to hear the answer that you would have from your next expert.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's quite concerning that with the access that you have to such a wide number of MSPs and you don't see any success stories yet. You heard it here first.
Well, and we're brand new. The automation opportunity for MSPs right now is an opportunity to take your service gross margin. Best in class today is about 48%. And that our math on that is your managed service revenue minus your cost of goods, which includes your cost of tools, and that you need to service those accounts, and it includes your cost of labor for your managed service team. And that includes not only your techs, but your service managers who are not G&A, they are service costs. It includes project managers, your VCIOs, anybody who is supporting the account after they sign up to become an account with you. All of that cost then gets subtracted. So when I hear MSPs today talk to me about how they're getting 80% gross margin on managed services, I know they're not calculating it the same way we calculate it in service leadership. But today, best in class is about 48% on that. I think the opportunity for MSPs is there to take that to 60, 65%, maybe a little bit more, and deliver better quality along the way. So I would for sure be focused on that first as an MSP. The opportunity will be there for monetization and to add it in, just like 10 years ago, MSPs were trying to figure out, how do I build security into my managed service offering? Well, we've obviously figured that out as an industry. Most MSPs today are doing really well with that. But from a automation and AI perspective, the external facing part, trying to jump straight into that before you really understand it internally is a mistake, in my opinion.
Interesting. And it's moving so fast and there's such a learning curve. But I actually had an interesting conversation literally about an hour ago in the hallway, as you do at these events, from an MSP that was talking about building, so with things like Claude Code, for example, going in, building applications that have automations built into them, so you can almost replace some SaaS solutions. Then they're making their money on the hosting element, which is interesting to me. So I've come from many moons ago, a hosting product management background, excellent margins in hosting.
Yes.
So I don't know if you see that model at all, but that's quite an interesting one. You go in there, create an application, and then you just charge for the monthly hosting, and very high margin, as you can.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some really interesting ideas that are percolating right now. Where I think it's going to largely go is, I think for most infrastructure MSPs, it's going to be compliance, governance, data governance, really helping the businesses understand the risk that they've got with AI.
Should be the first step, really, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think building those services in and having those built into your managed service offering is really logical to me. I think it fits really tightly into what MSPs have been doing for years for those businesses.
Yeah.
There definitely are some MSPs that also do some app dev and are able to bring some a service layer, some that are starting to embrace that. Generally speaking, in the past, our data has said that if you're an infrastructure managed service provider that does a little bit of app dev on the side, that you do well on the app dev, or you do well on the MSP part, but you lose a lot of money on the app dev part. If you're an app dev shop that does a little bit of infrastructure managed services, you do well on the app dev side and you get your brains beat in on the infrastructure managed services part. So historically, we haven't seen those two be a really good fit from a profitability standpoint.
That's fascinating though, isn't it? Because that app dev part has been totally transformed recently.
So I think that's another thing that'll be pretty fun to watch over the next couple of years, is I think you may see a little bit more of a convergence of those two businesses over the next couple of years because of the capabilities that AI brings. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. It'll be fun. All I know is our industry has been an industry of helping businesses solve technology problems and embrace technology opportunities, maybe a more positive way to look at it. AI is bringing a whole new world of those technology opportunities and technology problems to businesses that will present opportunity for MSPs. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, we're in for a wild ride, but I think there's massive opportunity. Peter, it's been really good to talk to you. I feel like I can see there's so many topics we've touched on there that I can see we can draw out, and hopefully we can turn these into some shorts and share them with people. Finally, would you like to do a shout out? So where can people get hold of you? But is there anything you'd like to talk about? You mentioned the Zofig, the acquisition. I don't know if you'd like to touch on that. Anything you want to give us a shout out for? 30 seconds to the masses listening.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who has not taken a look at what ConnectWise is bringing to the table for partners lately to take a fresh look. It's a mix of really innovative technology now, the ConnectWise platform. I think it took longer for us to develop that than we had planned, but I think in a few years that everybody's going to look back and say that was an incredibly smart strategic move, massive investment, but it positioned ConnectWise and ConnectWise customers to embrace this automation opportunity. And when you add in the acquisition of Zofig and layer that into that platform, the power of that will be incredible. But in addition, ConnectWise bought the community that's now Evolve. We celebrated our 25th year last year. That our community is a worldwide community. It's doing incredible things and has for 25 years to really help MSPs understand how to take it to the next level, how to not only solve business challenges, but build a better life and really improve their life. And then ConnectWise acquired Service Leadership 4 years ago as another way to help partners improve. And so ConnectWise is looking at this from a standpoint of it's not only about the technology, it certainly has to be, the technology is critically important, but it's about the guidance that we can bring to partners. What kind of community can we bring through IT Nation events and through IT Nation Evolve, the data, the benchmarking. And so ConnectWise has priced these things at a heavily subsidized rate to make them affordable for every MSP out there. So just take advantage of these things. I ran an MSP, as I mentioned, for 11 years. These things didn't exist back in the day.
Yes.
We all had to figure it out.
Just go it alone.
And today you don't. You have the ability today to take advantage of all these things to help you in your business, but it's up to you as an MSP to take advantage of them.
That's wonderful, and knowing many MSPs had so much benefit from Evolve, I can definitely endorse that too. I think it's a unique formula that you have, and it seems to really generate the OML MSPs for sure, from what I've seen.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have with Evolve is we are known now for generating the highest quality MSPs out of Evolve. That all the private equity companies like to hang around at the bar at the meetings at night, and that's our largest source of churn, is all these companies getting acquired. So it's a good problem to have.
It is. It says you're doing your job right.
Yeah, that's right.
Wonderful. Peter Kujawa, absolutely pleasure to speak to you. Thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to come on anytime.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
that is it for this episode of Harvest. If you found this useful, all the links we mentioned are in the show notes. And of course, if you enjoyed it, please do leave us a review and share it with a friend, or even better, someone else in the industry who you know would get value from it. Until next time, happy harvesting.